I know a lot of times we tend to focus on all the things we have to do. And we always have a long list. I know I always have a long list. So what I want you to do is think of one thing you feel you need to get done. Something you still need to get done. And it could be little or big. It doesn't have to be a big thing. One thing you need to get done. But then I want you to talk about two things that you're looking forward to. So one thing maybe you're not looking forward to too much and you have to get done, but what are two things you're looking forward to? So I'll give you an example. One thing I've been anxious about is my husband and I got new bedroom furniture and it's being delivered today to our house. And I'm not feeling good about having to empty all the drawers, put everything back in, organize everything because it's going to take time. It's Friday, it's the end of the week, I'm tired. I'm going to be more tired when I get home tonight, but I have to do that. But something I'm looking forward to is when we do that, he said we're going to go out to dinner and we're going to relax. So I'm looking forward to that. And then I'm looking forward to seeing my parents this weekend because we scheduled time to sit down and have lunch together. So there's one thing I'm not looking forward to, but I have to do it, but two things I'm looking forward to. Okay, so that's what I want you to talk about with your partner. Go. 2, 1. Okay, very good. So hopefully everyone had the opportunity to share something with their partner. And again, I just want to remind everyone that even though we always have a long list of things that we have to do and we feel anxious about, we still want to remember we have positive things going on in our lives, things that keep us happy, make us happy, and let's not forget about those things. So at this time, what I'd like to do is have our parent liaison, Ms. Martinez, come down and she's going to give us an update. I see that most, if not all of you, got the handouts as you were coming in. So she has some updates or things to tell you regarding what's going on in the Parent Center.
Good morning. The first thing that I want to share is the Parent Symposium. If you have the flyer, you have all the information. Please, if you want to attend to these workshops, please come at the end of the meeting and come with me so I can register you. Also, we have the learning walks. Learning walks are when you visit the classrooms. So you visit the classrooms and observe the class for a few minutes. Then you give suggestions if you are interested in participating. So please come and see me. And we have it. We're going to have it this Friday, right?
Next Friday.
Next Friday. Next Friday from 8 to 12. And we're going to have a live breakfast, right? Yes. So please come to that. Also, please come to Zumba. Enjoy Zumba. And you can come with your student so you can have a fun time with them, okay? And that's it for me. And if you want, I see new faces, so if you want to involve in the school, you can come and see me in the Parent Center, or in the newsletter you can find my information in the last page of the bottom. There is my phone number, the Parent Center number, so you can contact me, you can call me, or you can stop by the Parent Center if you want to become a parent volunteer, okay? Or if you have any other question. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez. So a lot of great things happening this quarter for our parents. Everything she mentioned, I want to reiterate. So the Parent Symposium, again, this is just for parents on April 27th. It's a Saturday, the last Saturday of April, but see her if you want to sign up. You do need to sign up. It's going to be at Montgomery High School. And I think it starts at 8? 7:30. Oh, 7:30? So they have you arrive at 7:30 and it goes till 12 o'clock. And the guest speaker, I've heard him speak before. He's excellent, Pedro Noguera, he's a great speaker. He talks about equity and learning, making sure that all students of all backgrounds get the proper education, and what we can do as educators and as parents to make sure that happens in our society. I heard him speak, I think it was last year, and he was very inspirational, motivational. So if you have the opportunity to attend, please see Alma. And like she said, if you want to participate in our learning walk next Friday, it's also in the morning. And we visit classrooms, and we coach you. We tell you, all you have to do is take your own notes. I don't even collect your notes. The notes you take is just things you write down about what you see the students doing in the classroom. And then we talk about how can we as parents support them. And it's not about, I know some of us may not know the language, which is okay. My parents didn't know the language, but there were things you can do at home to support your students so they can be successful in school. So also sign up with Alma if you're interested in doing that. So, and finally Zumba, I tried it a couple weeks ago and it was really fun. Really fun. I got a lot of good exercise. Ms. Arroyo, our head counselor, she's there as well. So we all have a lot of fun together, and no experience necessary. Don't say, oh, I don't know how to dance. You don't even know how to dance. We just do this. We jump around and we have fun. It's really fun. Okay, so with that, I'll have Ms. Arroyo come on down. She's our head counselor, and she's here to give you an update about what's going on in the counseling center.
Good morning, everyone. Can everyone hear me without the mic? Yeah. Yes? Okay, because it's kind of coming in and out, so that's okay. So welcome back. As you've heard many people mention, we're in our last quarter. Can you believe the last 2 months of school? So a lot of exciting stuff is happening. The counselors and I, when I was last here, I mentioned to you we were meeting with all our students to actually already choose the classes for next school year. So all of you that have students in 9th, 10th, and 11th grade, we are getting those classes ready for what they'll take for the upcoming school year. We fortunately have finished meeting with all of our students, so all of your kids should have a copy of the classes that they selected. We asked them to please take home that yellow copy and share with you, so that you know the classes that they'll be taking for the next school year. If you haven't received that yellow copy, please let them know that you talked to a counselor this morning and they told you that they should have that so that you know what classes your student will be taking. And if you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to just reach out to the counseling center to schedule time to meet with your student's counselor, okay? We are also right in the middle of our credit recovery. So some of you may have students that started credit recovery this semester to make up a class that they earned an F or a D in, especially for anybody that has a current senior or junior, because we did give priority to our upperclassmen. That will be ending very shortly in the next few weeks by May 17th. So if you have a student taking credit recovery, I want to encourage you to ask them how it's going, to please remind them that attendance is very important. The only way that they could earn that credit that they're retaking is through their attendance and their work in that class. So please check in with them, especially if you have a student doing that. We actually are also right in the last few weeks of our group, our support group for our 9th and 10th graders. Can I see it? Do we have any parents here that have a 9th or 10th grader with us? Perfect. So we have invited quite a few of our 9th and 10th graders to join us in a support group. Some of the students showed interest and have been participating, and it's been going really well, where they've been meeting on a weekly basis with counselors to learn different strategies to help support them in their academics. So just to keep you in the loop, that's been going on, and we'll be finishing in the next few weeks with our Monday meetings for that. So a great support that we have for our students. And another thing that we have for our parents coming up, hopefully many of you will be able to join us, is next Wednesday, our parent workshop series. It will be the last series for our parent workshop. As I look around, I see some faces that have joined us to our previous meetings. So hopefully you'll all be able to come next Wednesday. That starts at 9 o'clock in the counseling center. And next Wednesday's topic will be to learn about internet safety and substance abuse. So our counselor that will be leading that discussion is Ms. Vallejo Pais, and she'll be inviting a specialist to come talk to you about learning about substance abuse and providing resources about internet safety. Because of course, you know, as parents, the internet is accessible to all kids very quickly. And unfortunately, well, I don't want to use the word unfortunately, but I think one of the important things that as educators and parents, we need to be aware of is that we need to provide our students with strategies and skills to understand how to use these resources in a positive way. Because even if when they get home, I mean, ideally, yes, we cut them off from the internet, but when they come to school, they might be a friend with a smartphone. So they're going to some way or another have access to the internet. So there's no way we're going to be able to 100% stop them from using it, but we want to make sure to educate our students on what's a responsible way to use technology. So we'll be providing resources on that and also talking most importantly about substance abuse, because as we know, unfortunately, there is access in general for students, and although we'd like to make sure that our kids are making the best choices, sometimes there's influences around them, and we want to make sure that they're not falling victim to those choices that are going to lead them down a bad path. So please join us next Wednesday in the Counseling Center at 9 o'clock for that last parent workshop series. And in this next month as well, we have a lot of great activities to celebrate our students getting ready for college. So anybody have an 11th grader in the room? We're going to be having our Compact for Success meeting for our 11th graders that are on track for San Diego State for admission to the university. And that will be next week on April 16th. We'll be having that meeting. For any senior parents, for your students that were admitted to SDSU, we will also be having a meeting directed by San Diego State, the Compact program, on April 23rd, talking to them about what's the next step once they've been admitted to San Diego State to complete their registration and the next steps towards enrolling at San Diego State. And lastly, I did want to share with you that we actually just sent out a senior survey. Do we have any parents that have seniors here? Okay, so just a couple. So hopefully, the survey went out to both students and parents. And this is really important. I really want to encourage you to please make sure that your student has completed the survey. Because in this last month in May, this is where we have a lot of great celebrations for our students to celebrate all the scholarships they've earned and just special recognitions to the universities, whatever their plans are for after high school graduation. And so we really want to encourage them to fill out that survey so we could make sure to capture and celebrate all of our students' accomplishments. Great, so that's just a little quick update for what's happening through April and the beginning of May. But I will see you next month for our next coffee with the principal and fill you in on the last month of activities that we have. Again, if you have any questions or concerns about your students' academic progress, please don't hesitate to call, check in with your student's counselor. We could access Jupiter grades together to see how things are going, and most importantly, connect you to the student's teacher, because it's the teacher that's going to be able to also best advise you. We still have about, I want to say, 8 weeks left in the semester, so there is still time for your students to get those grades where they want them to be by the end of the semester in June. Because once June 7th is finalized, that's the final grade on their transcript. So we want to make sure between now and then that those grades really reflect our students' potential and success. So please don't hesitate to come by the Counseling Center. And as you've heard from Ms. Gavin and from Alma, Zumba's on Thursday. It's a lot of fun. So hopefully you all can come out and join us. It's the funnest workout you'll have. And before you know it, you've danced and had fun, and you're like, wow, I just worked out and I feel good. So hopefully many of you can come out and join us next Thursday at 3:15 here in the theater. Any questions? Uh-oh. Any questions? No? Okay, well have a great day, everyone. It's nice to see you. Thank you.
Oh, all right. And again, for Zumba, it's men and women, not just women, men and women. We've had both show up for classes, and it's parents and students and staff. So it's a lot of fun to work together. And I want to, before we open it up to any general questions, I do want to commend you and thank you for being here and being involved in your students' education. Yesterday evening, I attended a meeting at the National School District. Do any of you still have students in the elementary schools? Anyone have students in the elementary schools? A couple of you? So I attended a meeting yesterday evening, And I see the parent support, and they were working with Dr. Brady, the superintendent, and the principals from different schools, and giving input and feedback about how to better support students in the classroom. And what I sometimes tend to see is that sometimes there are parents that are really involved with their students' education in elementary school, but when the students get older, maybe they don't go to the schools as much. And I commend you, because I see you here all the time, year after year, that even if your student says, oh, Mom, Dad, you don't have to go to school to that meeting, or you don't have to be involved, that you don't listen to them, and you say, no, I have to. And that's very important, because when we work together, we're going to be able to better support our students and their education. So please keep coming, please keep being involved. And if you have any friends or other family members that have students here that do not attend the meetings, bring them next time. I know we're coming to the end of the year, but like Ms. Arroyo said, we still have activities and events for our parents, because it's very important that you're involved in your students' education. This time, I'm going to open it to any questions you might have. I know we usually do that at the very end, but what we're going to do in a couple of minutes is we're going to walk over to the library. That's where Ms. Chappelle Brown is waiting for us, and she's going to set us up and give us information about digital citizenship. So are there any general questions or wonderings, things you want to ask? Yes. Very good question, because even if you don't have a senior, I know a lot of people want to maybe go to their niece or nephews or a friend's graduation. So the question is, graduation for seniors is on Friday, June 7th, and it's going to be at Southwestern College at 6 o'clock. The question was, do we need a ticket to go inside? And the answer is no, you do not need a ticket. Sometimes some schools, because they expect a lot of family members, they give out tickets before, and they say you can only bring 4 people. We don't like to limit that, because we know we have a lot of big families that want to go support their senior and applaud them when they walk across the stage. So in past years, what we remind parents is that it's first come, first serve, but so far, in the last several years that we've had it at Southwestern College, we haven't had to turn anyone away. There's enough seating. Now, I do recommend you get there early if you want to sit in a certain location. But even for those that get there right when the ceremony starts at 6 o'clock, they're able to find a seat. So very good question. Any other questions? Yes? Another good question. No, you do not need to pay for parking at Southwestern College. Again, it's first come, first serve, but I've seen that they've been able to have enough parking for everybody. Yes. So the question is, can you only park in designated parking? We will send you information on where you are able to park, but most of it is open. There might be a small sections that you can't, but otherwise, and if you need to park, I believe if you're handicapped or need to have special circumstances, our ASB Dean, Mr. Salazar, he's able to give you something ahead of time, but that information will go out to the families before. Yes. And the ceremony, because a lot of times people, they make dinner reservations or they have a celebration at home where they're inviting other people. They always ask, how long is the ceremony? We know it starts at 6 o'clock. What time will it end? We can never say exactly what time it will end because it all depends. Usually, it's been ending around 7:40. About 7:30, 7:40 is when it ends. And then give yourselves time to be able to exit because there are about 7,000 people there. And so give yourself enough time to get to your car and then file out in your car. It's going to take a while. So even though it ends between 7:30, 7:40, don't think you're going to be at the restaurant at 8 o'clock. It's not going to happen. You'll be late. Yes?
I have issues with my mail. I don't have the package for the registration for the next period. What I can do?
Question is about registration. So I know some of you have been getting the information about registration. If you have not received the information, I encourage you to stop by the counseling center after the meeting. Stop by the window and they will give you the information you need to register. So how many of you have already cleared residency for next year? You already filled out the forms or you went onto the computer? Because we've been doing it this week after school, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I've seen a lot of families coming through. We're still going to hold those after school, but you need to clear residency. And it's easier than in past years because before, every single year, you had to bring proof of residency. Starting this year, you only have to do that if you moved. So if you moved in the last year, then yes, you have to bring proof of residency, like a SDG&E bill or a cable bill. But now, if you haven't moved, if everything's the same, you don't have to bring that in. You still need to submit that information, fill out the proper information. You want to make sure phone numbers, everything's updated, but you don't have to bring the actual proof, which is one less thing. It's kind of nice. It's good. Okay, so at this time, I'm going to walk you over to the library, so please make sure you pick up all your things. And if you didn't pick up the flyers, you can do it on your way out. So we're going to go to the library for a special presentation.
Parents, my husband and I, we struggled with this kid. He had ADHD. So my son, he was special ed from kindergarten all the way through high school. So we struggled with this kid because sometimes he listened and sometimes he didn't, okay? And as parents, you know, we love our kids and sometimes it's just hard to raise them, right? It's hard as parents to raise children. So I would just want to say, maybe today I can give you some guidelines, tell you some of our experiences with this digital citizenship thing and how maybe we can help our kids, okay? So this is a handout and I'm looking at it. Mrs. Brown should have put this in Spanish. So you know what? We're gonna put this in Spanish. We'll translate it in Spanish for you, but I'll walk you through what I have today, okay? I just didn't have a whole lot of time to prepare, but I think that we can still get some good information. One thing I'll say to parents is this: take away these phones at night. Take away the phones at night. Do not let your child go to bed with this phone, okay? Because what happens is they stay up all night and they need their rest, okay? Does that make sense? So, here. So we are the parents, and as the parents, we have to be parents. Did you hear what I said? Yes. As the parents, we have to be parents. So I would say take away that phone at night. Do not let anybody go in your household with that phone at night because they're not going to get their rest. And young people need their rest. Even old people like Mrs. Brown, I need my rest too. Okay? Because I remember my English teacher when I was in high school would say, when you get older, you don't sleep like you did when you were younger. And I'm finding that he was true. Mr. Viavotny, that was his name. And an old Italian guy, I love that man. And okay, did everybody get a copy? Let me give one to Miss. All right, did everybody get a copy? Did I miss anybody? You got one here? Okay. So, see? Okay. All right. So what happens is when you're dealing with these young people, because a lot of them are a lot smarter than us with this technology, even my student aides. You talk to these young people, they are more savvy with the technology than us older people. That's the truth, they are. But with that said, we have to be smarter in terms of putting guidelines down and making sure that they adhere to the rules of our household. okay? So that's what my husband and I used to fight with our son, because it's like Chris, his name was Christopher, and we would say, Chris, you know, you live in our house, you have to follow our rules, all right? So where it says, watch the clock, this one at the very bottom, watch the clock. Social networking sites can be real, they suck your time. Even Mrs. Brown, even my husband would say, hey, haven't you been on Twitter long enough? Even my husband said, you've been on Twitter long enough. So sometimes even we as adults get stuck there, right? So the kids, you know, they say that the frontal lobe, in terms of their development at this age, not until they're like 21, 25, 26 years old for some of the males. And my son is 23 years old, and we still struggle with certain things with him, okay? But we have to be the adults. So that's what I would say to the parents today. We have to be the adults. We have to put time limits on these kids. So where it says, watch the clock, social networking can pull away from academic studies. Okay, so if you're in school, you got to have time to study and do the work that the teachers are assigning, right? So if you're gaming, and sometimes even the kids, I brought in a sofa over there, and the kids will be sitting there playing, and I'm like, some of the Learning Center kids, and I'll go over and I'll just kind of nudge them and say, haven't you been on this long enough? You need to sit at one of these tables and get busy doing some work, because you've been doing Instagram too long, right? So even in here, I struggle with it. I'm like, your parents sent you here to get an education, not to be on social media.
My kids think that if I take her phone away, it's an abuse.
You know what? Guess what? We are the parents. They are the child. But my mother, okay, even my mother, she's going through dementia. She's in her 80s. And she said to me, so she has moments where she still understands, and she said, I'm still the parent. She's 80 years old, and she even knows, she goes, I'm still the parent. And even though she's older and her mind isn't what it used to be, she's still like, I'm the parent. I should have a say. Because I raised you. You didn't raise me. Right? So we are in charge. We are in charge, right? So don't let them tell you what to do. You pay the bills in your house. You have to say so. You are the final. Even my daughter, she just got accepted to Sonoma State. We have to pay the bill for her to go to that college. So we still have the final say.
I pay her phone, so I have the right to take.
You can turn it off. Because that's what my husband did for my son Chris. He's like, okay, Chris, you don't want to listen to what we have to say? I'm going to turn it off. Oh, Dad, you know, they get all like crazy. Like, they can't go anywhere with their phone, without their phone. I can't walk out now. They'll forget their homework, but they won't forget this phone. Right? So this is something that we as parents, we have to struggle with. But we have to remember, we are still in charge. We are still paying their bills as long as they're in our household, apartment, wherever we are. We still have that control. Do not let them go to bed with this phone. You put it aside. Even when I was at one of the high schools, they asked me to come in and do AP testing. And they said, Mrs. Brown, do not let those kids take those phones in the test. So we had a basket, and we put those phones in the basket before they start taking the test. Because the internet, they can look up the answers on the phone, right? It's so much there, right? So good stuff as well as bad stuff. So we have to know what they're doing. We have to say, okay, it's okay for me to look at some of your stuff. What is it that you're going to put here that I can't read? So it's almost like the grandma test, like my daughter and my son. And I'll say, if your grandma can't read it, then you shouldn't say it. The grandma test, right? So then we talk about cyberbullying, where you see something inappropriate on the phone, right? So you say to them, if somebody is doing something mean, mean, then they need to let our administration know or a teacher know so to stop that. We are not going to have people coming in here doing mean stuff on these phones, right? So if you say something mean, I don't have to say something mean back. You can block them. You can go on the and block them so you don't even have to be their friend, right? So you don't have to always retaliate and say something mean back. You can block them on the phone. So if one girl gets into a situation and say we're not getting along, we used to be friends, but we're not friends anymore. You say something mean to me, I don't have to say something mean back. I can block you and we don't have to talk anymore. Okay? I had a girl come in here at the beginning of the school year. These girls were about to fight. And I'm like, not in here, you're not. Oh no, we're not having that up in here. Right? Oh no. We're going to talk and we're going to work it out. If we can't talk and work it out, then we have to separate. Right? So I actually walked this young lady to the office to talk to the AP because I'm like, we are not going to have people in here doing the wrong thing. We are here to help each other and to educate each other. We're not here to hurt each other, right? So digital citizenship, it's almost like the golden rule. It's like the golden rule. You treat people like you want to be treated. Okay, so we come to school for an education, but now everything that we say, when it goes online, this is what I tell the kids, it stays online, okay? Meaning it never ever goes away, okay? So you have to be mindful of what you say online because it can impact your employment opportunities for the future, right? So if I say something crazy, how do you say loco? Loco? Crazy? Loco. If I say something crazy here, Miss Gavin, she or the superintendent or somebody, Reese says, what is Mrs. Brown doing? Is she crazy? You can't just say anything online, right? So we have to say to the kids, if I can't say it to you personally, face to face, then you don't say it online. You don't write something online that you wouldn't say to your grandma. If you can't say it, I say it to the grandma, because sometimes our kids disrespect us. So you're not disrespecting grandma, because my mother, she old school, she would like slap your face. You know you weren't supposed to say it, because your face is slapped. You're like, so she old school. You wouldn't do that, right? So I say it's the grandma test, right? You don't disrespect grandma because grandma not gonna have that, okay? So there's a whole lot of stuff for digital citizenship, and I can show you this, but I just thought when I saw this paper last night, I was trying to think, what should I say to parents? And I guess I just thought I would just tell you about my experience with this, because I have teenagers. One, well, they're getting older than teenagers now. I guess I'm getting older too. But and I just know when my son was home, he was like the most challenging kid you could ever raise in, ever. Okay? And I just know that we just went through a lot of different things with him. All right? So I know it's not easy being a parent in this digital age. I know that. Okay? Because I've lived it. I have personally lived it. Okay? And I say to my daughter, who is still at home, she hasn't gone to Sonoma State yet, and I said, you can't say everything, because she's like, people are following me online. She's talking about people are following me online. And I said, well, you don't want the wrong people following you, right? Because you're a young, pretty girl, and you don't want somebody getting your personal information. So sometimes, like your street address, your phone number, sometimes the kids are sharing too much personal information. They don't need to know that they go to Sweetwater High School. You don't want people on the internet to come looking for your child at 2900 Highland Avenue. You don't want that. So we need to tell our girls in particular, don't put all your personal business online, because people will use that not to the good. Not to the good, especially for the girls. You have questions? You guys have questions for me? Anything you can think of that you want to ask me, please do. All right.
thing that she would tell me is like she needs to do her homework at home. Is that correct?
Sometimes, yes. Yes. Even like at my son's school, they would have them do, on the cell phone, they could actually do homework on the cell phone. It is true. It is true nowadays. So it is true. But at the same time, they didn't realize my son would not only not do his homework, but he would go and do other crazy stuff online. So some kids, you can also say to the teacher and work with the teacher individually if your child can't handle it. Some kids can't. Some kids will go on porno sites and they're doing other stuff that's not, because they have access to information. So you know your child better than I know your child. If you think your child is not going to use it correctly, then you can talk to the teacher and do paper with your child. Some kids will not do the right thing, unfortunately. Okay? So you have to decide whether you can trust her to do what she needs to do online by doing her homework here, or you can say to the teacher, for my particular child, I need her to have paper because she's not going to do what you ask her to do. She's going to do that and something else. Okay? So you still have the option as a parent to go paper if that's what's best for your child. A lot of times, us as educators, it's easier to have everybody doing the same thing. Okay? As educators, because you're putting something else together for your particular child. But if that's what your child needs, then we need to accommodate that. Right? Okay? So you have to talk to them and just say, there's consequences, because you can go through a history and see where they've been online. There's a way to do that on the phones and the laptop to check the history, what sites they're going to. You as parents can say, okay, you didn't go to the right site, so you're grounded. I'm taking that phone away for a while. I'm taking it away for a week until I can get your attention. But we have the power to do that as parents. Right? So the technology is there to help us to make sure the kids are educated and to make sure that they have what they need. But I know there are some kids who are not going to use it wisely. But we as parents have to get, know what's going on. My husband used to block. He would block my son for something. But my husband's very smart. He's an electrical engineer, and he knew how to block Chris out of certain things. So thank God for him at my household, right? Because that boy still graduated on time, even though he was giving us a hard time. He was giving us a hard time, right? All right? But he knew how to block him from certain sites so that he could only just do his work. So there are like security kinds of things on certain programs that you can use to block them off certain sites. So that's something that you can do, right? Questions? So here it's like anything they can create or communicate can be cut, altered, pasted, and sent around. So particularly like with girls, sometimes girls are going out with guys and they take pictures and then they break up and the guy will send their picture around to other people. So you want to say to your girls, make sure you're not doing anything where you're putting your personal private information online. Okay? Because the thing about it, if you take pictures of me like a nude picture, that's illegal. And that can get you into trouble with the law. Okay, so if I take pictures of myself and then send them publicly on a phone to somebody else, say you're my boyfriend, and I send it to you, but then we break up and then you send it to somebody else, that's not good. That's not good. So make sure you say you keep your private stuff private. Because with the internet, that stuff gets out very quickly. So then the kids are like, ooh, did you see that? Did you see that? Did you see that? And then the kid don't want to come to school because their private stuff is already out there. Right? Mm-hmm. Keep your private stuff private. That's what you tell those girls. If they're truly their boyfriend, they don't need to see that. It doesn't need to go online. It doesn't need to go online. Keep your private stuff private. Tell the girls. They're not your boyfriend. They're not for you if that's what they want you to do. They don't love you that much. They're just trying to abuse you. So that abuse happens even in high school. And people are sharing things that they shouldn't be sharing. So that happens. That's real. That happens. Okay. So don't post locations. They don't need to know where they go to school. They don't need your house address. They don't need to share information that that some predator, somebody who they don't even know, might start looking for them because they put too much of their personal business online. So you don't even have to say your last name. You might put a first name, but you don't have to say you go to Sweetwater High School. Some information should not be shared. Okay? So, so there's that. So I wanted to show you a little bit. Let's see.
Digital citizenship is really important for 21st century skills because being a 21st century citizen means that you can collaborate and communicate, and you need to do that not only with the people that you're face to face with, but also those that you encounter in the digital world. Our district believes that we need to address citizenship. We believe in educating the whole child. There's a lot of focus on the academics right now, and we have always believed that we need to do more than just the academics. And part of that is citizenship. And now with our new world out there, the digital world, it's very important to incorporate that in and make sure that we're teaching our students about how to be good citizenships online and in their work with technology.
It's important for our district to address digital citizenship because it reflects the world that our kids live in, and we want to be able to understand the lives that they lead, whether it's positive or negative, and also it allows us to address things and be proactive rather than be reactive.
It's really important to talk about digital citizenship in the classroom because there is so much engagement. Students have so much more engagement now with technology, with the digital world, and as they are doing that, they don't sometimes make the right choices, and they don't really know what they're doing or the effect of how they're communicating with others.
I teach 7th and 8th grade science, and I think it's important to teach the digital citizenship curriculum because now with the advent of all of these technologies in school, students need to be educated as to how they can use those resources effectively and safely. You're not just going to give a 16-year-old a car and say, have fun, hope it works out for you. They have to go through driver's education. So the digital citizenship program is like the education for students to use technology wisely and safely.